Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I'm rising today to speak to Bill C-5, as you'll be aware. But if I may take advantage of my great privilege to speak in this place to preface my comments with special wishes for my friend Nancy Much. Nancy, for many years, volunteered at Jack Layton's constituency office, and since Jack's death and mine, she has a golden heart, but for a couple of weeks now has been in Toronto East General Hospital under great medical care, but engaged in a difficult struggle, and she's always paid special attention to what goes on in this place, Mr. Speaker, so I'm hoping she'll hear me say, when I say here, Nancy, keep fighting, we love you, and we need you back on the phones. Drug addiction in our prison system is a serious problem, Mr. Speaker. I think we've well established that so far this afternoon. It's serious because it's linked to inmate violence, gang activity in our prisons, is serious because it threatens the safety of our correctional officers, and it's serious because it makes it so difficult for offenders to effectively reintegrate into the community once they are released, and it leaves them much more likely to reoffend. But serious problems, Mr. Speaker, need serious solutions, and not only does Bill C-12 not offer any serious solutions to the drug problems in our prisons. It, in fact, offers no solutions at all. It has been long-standing practice at the Parole Board, Mr. Speaker, to use drug tests as a tool to evaluate an offender's eligibility for release. All this bill does is to validate this practice, and it is, in effect, another lame effort by the Conservatives to appear tough on crime, tough on drugs, without doing anything at all to help us solve the complex problems relating to drug use in our prisons. This bill has been called so accurately and evocatively bumper sticker politics by my colleague from Gatineau, the justice critic for our caucus. Mr. Speaker, the Conservatives' effort to eliminate drugs from our prisons has been a remarkable failure, proving themselves once again to be the great mismanagers of the public purse. They have now spent more than $120 million on this interdiction effort, and according to the correctional investigator, this spending has had no impact on the prevalence of drugs and drug use in our prisons. In order to sincerely address the problem of drug use in prisons, Mr. Speaker, Correctional Services needs to develop a proper intake assessment for all new inmates, an assessment that can evaluate their needs for addiction and mental health programming and rehabilitation. It is only by providing proper addiction and mental health treatment and education to offenders that we can actually have an impact on the prevalence of drugs, violence, and gangs in our prisons. Mr. Speaker, according to the correctional investigator, the Conservatives' current anti-drug strategy lacks three key elements. Firstly, an integrated and cohesive link between interdiction and suppression activities and prevention, treatment, and harm reduction measures. Secondly, a comprehensive public reporting mechanism. And thirdly, a well-defined evaluation, review, and performance plan to measure the overall effectiveness of these investments. The correctional investigator's report, Mr. Speaker, goes on to say, and I quote, "A zero-tolerance stand to drugs in prisons, while perhaps serving as an effective deterrent posted at the entry point of a penitentiary, simply does not accord with the facts of crime and addiction in Canada or elsewhere in the world. Harm reduction measures within a public health and treatment orientation offer a far more promising, cost-effective, and sustainable approach to reducing subsequent crime and victimization," end quote. Now, not only have the Conservatives made no progress in improving the drug situation in our prisons, Mr. Speaker, they have actually made the situation worse. While the Conservatives have been happy to waste millions of dollars of public money on, quote, drug-free prisons, end quote, despite a consensus among experts that these efforts are ineffective, they have made cutbacks in core correctional programming that includes support for addiction and mental illness. Today, federal offenders with drug addiction problems face long wait lists before they can get treatment. There are currently over 2,400 prisoners waiting for addiction treatment in our country, in federal prisons, and this situation is absolutely unacceptable. It is unacceptable, Mr. Speaker, because too often this results in offenders being released from prison without ever having access to appropriate treatment for their addictions, which leaves them more likely to commit crime and end up in the correctional system once again. While the Conservatives like to think they are tough on crime, and they like to put forward empty gestures like this bill before us, their policies have actually increased the chances that offenders will be released from prison addicted to drugs as they were on the day they were arrested. Our communities have become less safe, not more safe, because of these policies, Mr. Speaker. Last year, the number of people incarcerated in Canada reached an all-time high, with over 15,000 federal inmates, and that number is projected to rise to almost 19,000 by next year. And despite these trends, budgets for addiction treatment and counseling in our corrections system have been decreasing. Our prisons are becoming more and more overcrowded, Mr. Speaker, with the practice of double bunking increasingly becoming the norm. And this is a situation that fosters the proliferation of gangs and violence in our correction system. This situation puts the safety and security of our federal corrections officers in jeopardy. The federal government, Mr. Speaker, has a duty to ensure that work conditions are safe for every citizen under federal jurisdiction in this country, but it has a particularly sacred duty to ensure the security of those who put their life on the line for public service, such as federal police, our military, and corrections employees. Conservative cutbacks and jail overcrowding has made the job of our corrections officials more dangerous, according to the Union of Canadian Correctional Officers. A recent article in the Huffington Post quotes Correction Officer Trevor Davis, who works at the William Head Institution on Vancouver Island, as saying, quote, "The Prime Minister wants to be tough on crime, but he's not giving us the resources to do it properly." As Mr. Davis puts it, Mr. Speaker, the Tories are making our jails unsafe. Now, we've talked about this matter this morning at length, Mr. Speaker, in the context of C5, about this government and, frankly, previous governments' disregard for the issue of workplace health and safety. So let me come back to this bill, C12, and the bumper sticker approach, the drug-free prisons. This will not render our prisons drug-free. It simply turns practice into law and leaves a dire situation, the need for assessment and treatment for the incarcerated in the interests of public safety, untouched. According to the report of the correctional investigator, close to 2/3 of offenders were under the influence of intoxicants when they committed the offense, leading to their incarceration. That's a statistic closely connected with the fact that 80% of offenders arrive at a federal penal institution with a past history of substance abuse. And this bill, Mr. Speaker, changes none of that. It will send offenders back into the population without ever seriously addressing the circumstances that gave rise to their offenses. That is the stuff of this government, of its bumper sticker politics, Mr. Speaker. It is beneath this place and all of us, but it is to this kind of politics we have unfortunately become accustomed from this government. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And with that, I welcome any questions.
Questions and comments. The honourable member for Yukon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I suppose we should all put on our hard hats because it sounds as though the sky is falling. I remember in 2011 when the NDP said the